Bob's exams have finally ended and he's looking for a new way to spend his free time. Our friend Bob, usually a fan of Netflix binges, social media scrolling and video game marathons, is craving something different, something more enriching. His mind wanders to a recent conversation with his friend Joy, a bona fide bookworm. Joy suggests a pair of novels, both critically acclaimed and reader-approved, sparking a flicker of intrigue in Bob's mind. Bob, eager to embrace the world of literature, decides to give these books a whirl. He imagines himself diving into the depths of compelling narratives, exploring new perspectives, and experiencing the unique thrill that only a well-crafted story can provide. The allure of these books, praised by his friend and thousands of readers worldwide, is too enticing to resist. So Bob takes a leap of faith into the captivating world of literature, his heart brimming with anticipation. But as Bob delves into these books, his enthusiasm begins to wane. The riveting stories he had anticipated fail to grip his attention. His interest in the novels dwindles with each passing page. He struggles to connect with the characters, the plot, the very essence of the books. The journey into the literary world that he had so eagerly embarked upon takes an unexpected turn. The books, once gleaming with potential, now seem like daunting mountains impossible to scale. He wonders, what went wrong? Why am I not captivated by these stories that so many others have loved? He ponders, he questions, he introspects. Was it the books? Or was it him? Could he have made a mistake in his approach to reading? But what could the mistake be? Bob's story is not a unique one. Many beginners on their reading journey encounter similar roadblocks. They start with enthusiasm, only to hit a wall of frustration and disinterest. If you've ever found yourself in Bob's shoes, wondering where you went wrong, you're not alone. And the good news is, it's not the end of the road. However, the journey Bob hoped for doesn't turn out as planned. This may seem like a setback, but it's actually the beginning of a valuable learning experience. Stick around as we uncover the mistakes Bob made and how to avoid them on your own reading journey. Bob's first mistake was blindly trusting Joy's suggestions without doing any research. Does this sound familiar? We've all been there, getting excited by a friend's recommendation and jumping right in without a second thought. But in the realm of reading, this approach can often lead to disappointment. Imagine walking into a bookstore or browsing an online platform. You're surrounded by a sea of titles, each with its own unique story and style. Now, if you were to pick up a book solely based on someone else's recommendation, you might end up with a thriller when you're more of a romance enthusiast, or a complex science fiction novel when you prefer straightforward narratives. This mismatch can make the reading experience less enjoyable, and in some cases, downright frustrating. This is precisely where Bob stumbled. He trusted Joy's taste in books without considering whether they aligned with his own interests. The novels, while popular and critically acclaimed, failed to captivate him. The genre didn't resonate, the writing style didn't click, and he found himself disinterested and struggling to engage with the content. So what's the solution to this problem? Research. Before diving into a new book, take the time to understand its content, genre, and the author's style. Read the book's summary and check out a few reviews. If possible, read a sample chapter to get a feel for the writing style. These steps can provide valuable insights and help you make an informed decision. Moreover, consider the author's background. An author's experiences, perspectives, and writing style can significantly influence the narrative. By understanding the author, you can gain a deeper appreciation for the book and its content. In the future, Bob, or anyone in a similar situation, should take a moment to explore the book's summaries, reviews, and even the author's backgrounds to determine if they align with their interests and preferences. Remember, reading is a personal journey, so make sure the books you choose to read are ones that you'll truly enjoy. It's your adventure after all. Choose wisely and let the joy of reading take you places. Bob's second misstep was overcommitting himself. His eyes had been bigger than his reading ability, and he'd bitten off more than he could chew. The novels he chose were heavyweights in the literary world, with hundreds of pages each. He had severely underestimated the time and mental effort required to digest them, leading to frustration and a waning interest. Imagine being at a buffet, your plate loaded with all kinds of delicacies. You start eating, but soon realize you've taken too much. You're full, but there's still so much left on your plate. That's exactly how Bob felt, overwhelmed and defeated. In the realm of reading, there's a simple guideline: start small. Think of it as dipping your toes in the water before diving in. Shorter, more manageable reads are the way to go, especially for beginners. They act as stepping stones, easing you into the reading habit without overwhelming you. These could be short stories, novellas, or even graphic novels, anything that isn't too lengthy or complex. This approach has several benefits. First, it allows for a smoother transition into the habit of reading. You're not shocking your system by suddenly immersing it in a sea of words. Instead, you're gently introducing it to the rhythm of reading. Second, shorter reads often lead to quick wins. Finishing a book, no matter how short, gives a sense of accomplishment. It's a morale booster, making you more likely to pick up the next book. Lastly, starting with shorter reads helps prevent feelings of overwhelm. Remember, reading is not a race. It's a journey, meant to be savored and enjoyed. There's no prize for finishing first, but there's a world of knowledge and joy to be gained along the way. In conclusion, Bob's experience teaches us an important lesson about overcommitting. The desire to read more is admirable, but it's essential to pace ourselves. Instead of tackling multiple lengthy books at once, beginners like Bob should start with shorter, more manageable reads. This way, the joy of reading remains intact, and the journey becomes a pleasure rather than a chore. Bob's eagerness to immerse himself in the books led to another pitfall: reading too much too soon. Picture this. Bob was filled with excitement for his new literary journey and decided to read as much as he could, as quickly as he could. He dedicated hours to racing through chapters, trying to consume the whole story in record time. However, this exhausting sprint soon took its toll. Before he knew it, Bob was burnt out. Many beginner readers make the same mistake. They treat reading like a marathon, trying to reach the finish line as fast as possible. But reading isn't about speed, it's about the journey. It's about immersing yourself in a different world, getting to know new characters, and uncovering plot twists. Pacing is crucial in reading. It's not about how many pages you can read in one sitting, but rather about how much you enjoy and absorb from what you read. Reading should be like a leisurely stroll through a beautiful park, where you take the time to soak in the surroundings, appreciate the beauty, and enjoy the moment. Reading a few pages each day consistently is beneficial. It not only prevents burnout, but enhances understanding and enjoyment of the material. Instead of trying to devour a book in record time, readers should aim for consistency, reading a few pages each day. A simple change in approach can make a big difference in building a lasting reading habit. Remember, there's no need to rush. Enjoy the process, let the story unfold at its own pace. Savor each sentence, each word, each idea. You'll find that taking your time makes reading much more enjoyable. It's not about the speed, but the steady and enjoyable journey. So what can we learn from Bob's story? We've journeyed with Bob and seen firsthand the pitfalls that can deter a budding reader. From his experience, we extract valuable lessons that can guide any beginner reader towards success. Bob's first stumble was blindly trusting recommendations. While suggestions from friends can be a great starting point, it's crucial to conduct your own research before diving into a book. Explore the book's summary, sift through reviews, and delve into the author's background. This process ensures that the book aligns with your interests and preferences, increasing the likelihood of a captivating reading experience. Next, we saw Bob overcommitting himself. He embarked on his reading journey with 2 hefty novels, underestimating the commitment they required. This led to frustration and eventually disinterest. The lesson here is to start small. Choose shorter, more manageable reads that won't overwhelm you. This approach allows for a smoother transition into the reading habit and keeps the experience enjoyable rather than daunting. Finally, Bob fell into the trap of reading too much too soon. His eagerness to immerse himself in the books led to exhaustion and transformed reading from a pleasure into a chore. This highlights the importance of pacing oneself. Instead of devouring a book in record time, aim for consistency. Read a few pages each day. This gradual approach prevents burnout and allows for better retention and enjoyment of the material. In conclusion, building a lasting reading habit is a journey that requires patience, mindfulness, and self-awareness. It's about making informed choices, setting manageable goals, and pacing yourself. Remember to research before buying, start small, and pace yourself. These simple guidelines can steer beginners on their reading journey with confidence and enjoyment. Reading is more than a hobby. It's a passport to new worlds, a window into other minds, and a pathway to personal growth. So, my dear friends, pick up a book and let the adventure begin. Remember, reading is not just a hobby, it's a gateway to knowledge, imagination, and personal growth. So pick up a book and let the adventure begin.